Hello and welcome to Fernbank Science Center's The Sky This Week for the very end of February, February 28th through March 6th, 2021. We have the last quarter moon this week, some bright planets in the early morning sky, and we'll see if March comes in like a lion or like a lamb. The very last day of February, early in the morning, some of the bright planets that we saw in December of last year are starting to appear in the early morning sky. For us, the planet Jupiter very low toward the east, and the planet Saturn and the two big ones, and just barely visible little tiny Mercury. At the beginning of the week, it's a little higher on the sky than Jupiter is. Monday brings a new month, the month of March. And if you start off again early in the morning, just before 6 o'clock, facing the southwest part of the sky, the waning gibbous moon is visible down toward the southwest, still pretty bright. And over toward the west, there's a fishhook or a backwards question mark of stars that marks the head of Leo the lion. The asteroid Vesta is right near the lion's tail. To see that little dot, you're going to need a really good telescope. But that lion, Leo the lion, one of the few constellations that looks like what it's supposed to be, a lion. It's been called that for thousands and thousands of years, that pattern of stars. Pretty much where people have seen it, it has looked like a lion. So there's our coming in like a lion early in the morning. How about the evening sky of that same day? The planet Mars, bright and high in the sky. The constellation of Orion, the hunter, also up pretty high by 7:30. 3 stars for his belt, 2 stars for shoulders, 2 stars for knees. Use those 3 belt stars, draw a cross, and you'll come to the eye of Taurus the bull. Mars is right near that area of the sky where the Pleiades are visible, but it's also near a tiny, sort of a little half a line of stars, Aries the ram. If you can find those, the stars are not very bright, the pattern is pretty small, but it's the constellation called Aries the ram. So there's our lamb. We have a lion and a lamb for the month of March. Now we'll see what the weather will be like that month. On the 2nd, let's look toward the north part of the sky. We did that last week and looked where the Big Dipper was on the sky. By 11 o'clock, it swung around so its tail is pointing over toward the east. The 2 pointer stars point out where Polaris, the North Star, is on the end of the handle of the Little Dipper, a much smaller pattern with much dimmer stars. It might be tough to find that one, particularly in our light polluted area. But in between, there is a constellation of Draco, the dragon. The dragon's tail sticks right in between the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper, and it curls around, ends with a lozenge of stars down near the northern horizon. Look at it even more closely. And there's a star, Polaris, that is our North Star. The North Pole of Earth points right about there in space, not exactly, but really close to that star. But several thousand years ago, Earth was wobbled over a little bit. Its North Pole pointed to a different star on the sky, the star Thuban along the dragon's tail. That's the star to which the pyramids were aligned when they were built several thousand years ago. In the meantime, Earth has wobbled around like a top. Its North Pole is now pointing toward Polaris. Toward the end of the week, face the southwest, find the bright planet Mars again, and notice that it has already moved a little bit closer to those Pleiades stars, that cluster of stars sometimes called the Seven Sisters, Mahariki in New Zealand, or the Seeds in South America. Early in the morning on the 5th, we can find our last quarter moon along with a couple of bright planets. Facing the south part of the sky, the moon is right near that large constellation of Scorpius, the scorpion, hooked tail, long body, shoulders, pedipalps, bright star Antares. But the moon is lit up on the left-hand side. It's at its last quarter. Sometimes it looks like a half a moon, but has traveled 3/4 of the way around its orbit from new moon, and it's called the last quarter or third quarter moon. If you have binoculars, check out the terminator, that line between the daytime and nighttime sides on the moon. This is a pretty place to look for shadows and craters. Quarter moon is a good time to look through binoculars. By the end of the week, Jupiter and Saturn have moved along a little higher in the sky, and Mercury has buzzed down toward the southeastern horizon. In a few days, it'll be disappearing down below the horizon. We won't see it again until it's up in the evening sky in a couple of weeks. Thanks very much for listening. Hope you have clear skies this week. Do tune in to our Science Center's website, www.fernbank.edu. Check out our Facebook page for Friday night virtual planetarium programs, particularly this week, and have a great week. Thank you for listening.